Hey, so the question is pariah or public figure? Pariah or public figure? The word pariah means outcast, someone that's ostracized, someone that has been labeled an outcast by society. And recently I started thinking about these labels and how they apply to my life and the person that I am. And in doing that, I started thinking about my life's journey up to this point. And three things stood out to me. One is that I've always had what I would call somewhat of a humanitarian spirit. Like, I've always been concerned with doing good things in the world in the name of humanity. And in high school, I volunteered for the community hospital and the American Red Cross and the United Way. So I've always had that theme about me, that essence about me. Number two would be my creativity. And that comes out in many, many different ways, with my writing and my acting, uh, with my YouTube videos that I do, and even in everyday life. Like when I wake up in the morning and I'm getting myself together and I do my makeup and my hair and I pick out an outfit for the day. To me, that's all creative expression. The third thing, and the thing that's been on my mind for the last few days, is I've always had this thing about me where I stand out, and because of that, I get people's attention. Now, that's not always a good thing in the sense that the attention isn't always positive. That's what I mean. But I've always had that about me from young. And I mean, of course, as a trans woman, I think many trans women can relate to the fact of going out in society and having people look at them in negative ways and make negative comments. And then on top of it, after my black market injections and I had the horrible reaction in my face, I was walking around with a pretty disfigured face. I mean, I look at pictures and videos now and think, wow, it was pretty bad. So that compounded the whole thing because when I would go out, I mean, people would really look at me with looks of disdain and condemnation and really like judge me in negative ways. They'd laugh and make fun. I mean, I went through all of that. But looking at my journey, I even felt that way like when I was little growing up. I remember I was about the age of 6 or 7, and I remember asking my mom, I said to her, Mom, why is it when we go out, people always stare at me? And in retrospect, I think about the answer she gave me. It was like the perfect answer. I swear, if any kid ever asks you that question, this is the answer to give them. She said to me, it's a special thing that you have. She says, when we go out and we see a homeless person on the corner or an alcoholic or drug addict on the corner, and in those days, the word was wino. It was used to describe a person that was an alcoholic and they may have been homeless, or if they weren't homeless, they were always out on the corner drunk. And she says, when people see those type of people, how they turn away, they don't really give them eye contact. It's almost like they don't want to even acknowledge their existence. She said, if people are taking time out of their precious day to stare at you, that's a special thing. And I swear, in that moment, it did make me feel better. But I think throughout my life's journey, I've always had the question as to why do I have this about me? Like, why? I mean, because in some way I've always stood out. I mean, whether it's me being multiracial and me going to school and not looking like a lot of the other kids did, or me being an effeminate little boy growing up and me standing out because of that, or me being a trans woman with really, really big breasts and me standing out because of these. It could be, I mean, the list could go on and on. I could sit here and name so many different reasons why I might stand out. But beyond that, I really do believe that it's a karmic energy or essence that I have had all along the way. Because I've had so many different looks and so many different images. And I mean, I've always stood out for whatever reason. And so then the question I started to ask myself is, when you have something, what are you doing with it? Like, am I using it for the higher good? And I started thinking about that, and I think overall I have, especially in recent years, with my advocacy work and activism. I really do think I have. And even just in everyday life, I mean, I will go out places and have people giving me those negative stares and actually try to extend myself, like smile and say, hello, how are you? Be friendly and connect with them on a human level. And sometimes the connection happens, but there's many times that it doesn't. And I call it the stone cold stare that I get. Like, I'm a Martian or something, that came from another planet. But anyway, no, what I'm trying to say is that I have tried to use this thing that I have, this ability or blessing, or hey, for that matter, curse. I guess it's all how you look at it. I tried to use this thing in positive ways for the higher good. Recently, I started getting out again because for a while I was a little bit out of commission. I had surgeries, 4 of them. Oh my God. And I had 4 surgeries within 7 weeks. One of them was like 6 hours long. It was pretty major, pretty grueling and tedious. But the blessing came out of left field because I was going on with life regardless, and I got this opportunity to go have corrective facial surgery. I went for it, and thank God I got through it. And I think that I've come a long way. I mean, pretty good improvement, corrective improvement with my face. And you can actually see my smile now my teeth when I smile. I mean, before when I smiled, my lip wouldn't lift up, so you couldn't see my teeth, So it's amazing and a real blessing. But recently I started getting out, doing my activism work, and I went to this function, a lot of people, and I noticed I started to get like these looks that I'm talking about. Now, granted, I get a lot of people that recognize me now from me being on TV. So I get a lot of that, and that's usually all love. I mean, they come up to me and tell me how they were touched by my story and they just loved me and my essence and my spirit, and, I really touched their lives. Just like really, really wonderful things they say, and I feel so blessed to be able to have that. But I'm talking about these stares of condemnation and judgment, negative judgment. And then I thought, God, Rajee, you would be foolish to think that just because you had corrective facial surgery does not mean you will not stand out. Because, hello, you've always stood out. Hello. And yeah, so anyway, it got me to thinking, and I hope that anyone that's watching this video that kind of have similar feelings like I do, and maybe for whatever reason you have always stood out and you've gotten different reactions, that you remember that it's important to hold on to who you are. And I say that because I'm talking from experience. Uh, I have had reactions from people where I really felt like giving up. And I felt like I just couldn't go on anymore. And it's almost like you allow people to steal the core of who you are. The core of who you are. You allow people to try to put out that light that you are, because we all have a light to bring to this world. And so I would hope that you remember to hold on to the core of who you are. And I have had to remind myself of that a lot. Remind myself of the work that I'm doing, and how I've impacted the world, and remind myself that I have good intentions, and that I am connected to spirit, and that I do believe that behind everything there is a spiritual essence. I'm a mystic. Yes, honey, I'm a mystic. I am spiritual. And I mean, right now I'm sitting doing this video, and the earth is spinning, and we have a big galaxy out there, and it is just awesome. It's amazing. We're walking miracles. Almost 8 billion people on the planet, and the sun isn't too close that we don't burn up, but it's not too far that we are able to still get the sun that we need, the light that we need, the warmth that we need from the sun. The moon is there, and the moon is keeping, the axial tilt in place of our earth, so that, the earth doesn't tilt over one side more than the other. It kind of like stays even as the earth spins. And this moon that has this gravity pull that affects the oceans, the water here on the planet, how before life was on the planet, it had, the waves bring minerals and different things from the ocean to the shore. And actually, as the waves went back out, left these minerals in puddles. And then the sun would warm these puddles, and life form would create, like little amoebas and little life forms started to create. I mean, okay, you're probably saying, where's this girl going? Like, what is this woman talking about? All I'm trying to say is that there's so much to me as a person. There's so much. And when someone just looks at me and just counts me out, like just counts me out, judges me right off the bat in a negative way, and just counts me out, it can be very, very hurting. But again, I have to remember, and I hope that anyone that can relate to how I feel, I hope that you remember that we are all here for a divine purpose. And when I was at that function, I saw a group of people, they were kind of laughing at me and making comments. And when people are looking at you in a negative way, you can feel it. Most people can. And I looked at them and I thought, God, I could never be mundane and plain. To me, that's boring. And that's the thought that I had. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is I could never just blend in. That's not me. It's never been me. And so, why should I have to not shine so bright just because people might not be able to take the light? We are all here to shine. And so I'm going to continue to shine, and I'd like to encourage anyone out there that feels like people are trying to dim their light or steal their essence, rain on their parade, however you want to describe it, that you hold on to who you are as a person and you shine bright. Love, peace, and blessings.